All right, everybody, what is going on? I just woke up and realized we got 16, 17, and 18 EZA info last night on the JP Dokkan Twitter account. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. Obviously, I don't read Japanese, so I had to go find some translations. So kindly, the wiki has posted them because I don't think Minato or Goresh did, and they're usually my go-tos for these sorts of things. And I'm sure for you guys it's the same, but yeah, who knows? Maybe you guys use somebody else. Let me know. But here we are. We're on the wiki right now. And yeah, so we can see, I mean, just kind of in their passive, right? Like, I can't read this, but I can see, like, 3 key, 178% attack up. They get some other 78%. An HP is 66% or higher, they get something. So it's like you can kind of see stuff going on in there, but it's easier if we just look at this, right? So here we go. EZA, physical 17 and 18. Their leader skill goes up to androids category key +4, HP attack and defense 170%, or extreme physical key 3, HP attack and defense 100%. This will probably be a decent battlefield leader. I probably won't use them because I prefer the 120 or 130 here. But, overall, this is probably good for a lot of people for Battlefield. And these EZA LRs, even if they aren't really red zone viable, they're usually at a level above, like, Battlefield at least. Like Spirit Bomb Goku is a good example from the 13 movie. I don't really like him in a lot of red zone content, but that guy's going to be a Battlefield staple forever, just the way he's built with the rainbow orb changing and his just everything else going on with him. So, anyway, super attack. The 12 key is raises attack and defense for 1 turn. Colossal damage to the enemy and lowers attack and defense. That is nice. That is a 30% attack and defense raise added to their kit. This is what they are currently. We can kind of compare. You can see all they had was the lowers attack and defense. So getting attack and defense for 1 turn here is very nice. Again, that'll be a 30% raise, so we love that. And then right here, Ultra Super Attack is basically the same thing. They just tacked on the extra raises attack and defense for 1 turn. And then they also made this greatly lowers attack. Right? Yeah, and greatly lowers attack and defense. So this will go up. Oop, don't look at those yet. So this will go up, I think, to 30% on the attack lower, and then they'll also be getting the 30% attack and defense raise. So that's nice. Right here, they're passive. Key 3, attack and defense 178% at the start of turn. That's very nice. That is up from just 78% in 1 key, so we love that. Always more key is good, and more attack and defense is nice. I saw some people posting concepts of this unit and what they would like to see, and a lot of people just stopped there. Like, they didn't give them any other, like, multiplicative buff, and I was looking at it like, guys, you do realize this is 2023, right? Like, we have to have multiplicative buffs, pretty much on characters, so... good to see Dokkan realize that, and they gave them an extra 78% attack and defense when performing a super attack. Very, very nice. So that's added completely new, as you can see. Medium chance of evading enemy attacks, that's the same, but they got rid of the HP condition on that part of it. You can see they had that before, but it was when HP was 66% or more. So they kept that, but then... Key 3, and chance of evading enemies' attacks +20%. So currently, medium chance is 30%. And if you add in this 20% here, it becomes 50, right? So 30 plus 20 is 50. When HP is 66% or more. So that's kind of what they did with this restriction, is like they just gave you like an additional bonus if your HP is high, which, I think that'll be good, right? Let me just do that so I don't, so I quit clicking on it. I just keep teasing you guys. Listen, if you want to see CALCS early, just go follow me on Twitter. I already have them posted there by the time I record these videos, so you can go check those out. But yeah, so now you get 3 key and 20% extra dodge when HP is 66% or more. That is nice, right? There will be times, just because the HP on this team is so low, that you do fall below this. And you'll lose this extra 20%, but at least they always have the permanent medium chance to dodge, which is good, right? I mean, it's still not great. Like, you don't ever want to be relying on a medium chance to dodge, like, by itself. But to me, already, this is looking like a full dodge character. But I'll let you guys decide how you want to build them. I'm not here to influence your decision. Plus an additional defense plus 35% within the same turn and launches an additional attack. That's a high chance of becoming a super attack for 3 turns after evading an attack. So that's good, right? That means even if you put them in slot 2 and they dodge there, they'll still have that additional next turn whenever they come back around, so that's nice. That's also good because, like, Fusion Zamasu, if you dodge an AoE, you'll get this activated, so that's nice. I don't know that you ever want to run this unit in slot 1, but you, in theory, could because they do have the dodge chance. So, take it or leave it there. And then androids category allies 2, key in attack and defense 50%. This is very nice. Preferably, I would have rather this been 3 key and attack and defense 40%, just because typically the android team doesn't need key. But what this helps out with this, like the key helps out with units like Cell, who don't link well with the other android units. So that's what this helps out with, the key. Because, like, otherwise, like, the normal android links, we can just look at these right here, right? Like, Infinite Energy is 2 key. Android Assault is 2 key. Shocking Speed is 2 key, right? It's like, these are very common links on these androids. So they're already sharing a ton of key. But this helps out for, like, the cells who don't have a typical android link set. They have a cell link set. That's who that benefits, if you ask me. But still, this is nice. Adding defense on here is nice. So we can go ahead and take a look at the calcs here now. Let me scoot this down just a little bit. Okay. So EZA 17 and 18/16. Up here in this top corner, in this top left, we have them on a 170% leader skill with Shocking Speed, Infinite Energy, and Android Assault activated. And then no support is what this is. Over here is the same, except we have 40% support. That is the only thing different between these two right here, is that this side has 40% support. Down here is the same as the top, except for it has a 200% leader skill instead of a 170. I went ahead and did both on this character because I feel like most of the time you're going to be using them on a 170% leader skill on Android 21's team, and she is not a 200% leader for them. This unit does have 200% leaders, but you're not running these teams. Like, no chance are you guys running these teams, so that's why I went ahead and did the 170% calcs as well. And you can see there is a pretty big drop up once we start getting, like, higher into the calcs. I mean, it's basically like a 90k defensive drop off at the max. I mean, this is like a full 100k with support. So definitely not good, right? That you lose that extra defense, but I mean, you're not. I mean, you can't. Let me know if you guys think you can run these teams, but I don't think you can. But anyway, that's why I decided to do both. And of course, we have 100% in this left column and then 55% in the right. Same over here. So, I mean, you can see, right? Their defense is 12,556. Again, that matches up right here. And then 55% is 9,956. That's, where those numbers come from. So that's what we're doing right there. If you guys want to try these calcs on your own and you're like, oh, what happens if they have like a 700 defense equip on them? Just change this number and then follow what I do for these other formulas, and then it should just auto update. Like, really, if you just copy exactly what I'm doing and you just change this number to whatever, you want it to be after equips, and then you can just kind of follow along right here. But so anyway, that's their defensive stat. For the leader skill, you're getting 2 of them, right? Because you have 2 leaders on a team. So you take this 170%, you multiply it by 2, that's 340%. Which, as a decimal, in order to work it into this formula, it's times 4.4. Now you may be wondering, you're like, oh, 300. If you're familiar with math, right? 340% as a decimal would be 3.4, right? But if I just multiplied this 12,556 by 3.4, that would only give me the increase. That would give me basically the difference between these two numbers. That would not then include this original number, which is included in the calc. So we have to multiply by 4.4 to keep this, like, in there. So that's what we're doing there, and then that's what you'll see as we go on. So see, same thing right here. Like, the links, they're giving us 30% buff. If I was just to multiply this by 30%, it would give me, like, 16,000, right? Well, my defense wouldn't go down with links activated. It would only go up. So we would add the 16,000 to the 55, which, to just express that as multiplication, we add the 1 here. So that's why it's 1.3 right here, and that's why it's 4.4 here. So it's usually easiest to explain it with links because, like, this makes the most sense to people, right? Is that it's a multiplicative buff, so we need to include the original number that we're adding this buff into, and so that's why we add the 1 right here. So anyway, that's the links. You can change this as well. Like if you want to add, I believe they have. I didn't include Soul versus Soul because this link is kind of just like nothing. Like, are you gonna run this character? No. You might have some situational use out of this guy, but overall, I don't think you're pretty much. I don't think you're ever gonna get this link active. So I didn't include it. But if you wanted to, right? You would just say, oh, it's an extra 5% defense. So you would go into this line right here, and instead of 1.3, it would be 1.35, right? So that's what you would do right there. Now, start a turn, they're getting 228% at the start of turn. We saw this. It's the 178% right here, plus the support, because, I mean, they are on the androids category. This doesn't say self-excluded or anything like that. So their start of turn buffs are this 178 right here and the 50% right here. So we add those together. That's 228%. And then over here on the side, you guys know at this point, it would be 3.28 is how we do the multiplication for that. On this side, it is 3.68 because we have an extra 40% support right here. So if you wanted to change the support up, you would just do basically 3.28 plus the decimal for however much support. So like for 40%, it's 0.4. For 60%, it would be 0.6, right? For both, it would be 1. So it would become, 2, or it'd become, 4.38, right? Because it'd be a total of 328%. Start a turn. So most supports are going to be start a turn like this. Active skills would be multiplicative. Battle of Gods Vegeta would be multiplicative in a different phase. So, yeah, so that's just what's going on with support right here. So another way to express this, right, would be to do the 3.28 plus 0.4. That'd probably be easier for you guys to understand if you're unfamiliar with the calcs. It's the same number, right? Like nothing changes. It's just expressed differently. And then you can come in here and say, plus like 0.6 if you wanted to add like another 60% support. And then that would change, right? So, but for now, we'll just leave it like this. It's not really going to be a huge impact on anything. I'll also make sure you use parentheses. I like parentheses. If you're not using parentheses, you're just like chaos math. So you use your parentheses. Okay, and so then down here, 35% when dodging and then 78% on super, right? That's going to be in the same phase. It won't be at the same time, obviously. It'll activate, like, the 35% will go in first, and then, like, the 78% on super will go in when you super, probably. Or it could be reversed, but either way, that's going to end up in the same phase. It's just going to be activated at different times. So if we go back over here, that's why I just put it in the same line. For simplicity's sake, I just included it all here. And you can kind of see, right? So this 1 is the one that we have to do that I've been talking about this entire time, right? Like I've been including a 1. I just broke it out a little bit more here. So there's the 1, and then there's the 35% right here. For dodging, and then this is the 78% on super. That's what you see right there. I just didn't want to do the math of 35 plus 78 because I'm lazy. I mean, what is that, 113, I think? I don't know, maybe. But so I didn't want to do the math of all that, so I just broke it out. I could have done that for these other ones, but I didn't want to think. 78 and 35 aren't common numbers that you add, right? Like this is easy. Instead of doing like 1 plus 0.05 plus 0.2 plus 0.05, I just know that 5 plus 5 plus 20 is 30, so that's why I didn't break it out here, but again, I don't know 35 plus 78 off the top of my head in those. I literally just woke up, so I don't want to think about it. And so then we saw they get 30% on each super attack that they do. I believe they can do a max of 3 supers. I'd say a double is probably most common, though. But anyway, on super attack effect, they're going to get 30% right here. So after 1 super attack, they'll be at 652k defense with no support. After 2 super attacks, you would add these 2 numbers together, and it would put you around 800,000 defense. And then if you were to get a triple super attack, it would push you up to about 950, which is pretty good with a potential 50% chance to dodge. So to me, this is another full dodge character. This is like going to be a character that you're running as a floater on the androids team. That's kind of their role to me. And so it's just going to be like, okay, we're only going to have them on rotation a few times. We just need to make sure that whenever they go in like slot 3 or whatever to float them off, that they're dodging. Like that's all that we care about. It's like they're here giving us this great support. We're going to float them off and never worry about them again. So that's kind of what I envision them as, and I think they'll fill that role fine. It's just going to be reliant on, do you dodge an AoE? Because I think post super attack they'll be fine from pretty much everything. I mean, even if they get supered, right, you still have the dodge chance. So that's pretty good. I actually did change the build on mine. Originally, I had them at 11 additional, 15 crit back whenever they came out. Because, they already had dodge chance built in for the most part, so I was like, I'll just give them additionals and crits because that's what they don't have. And in old Dokkan, that was okay, but you guys know in modern Dokkan, it's like if you're not dodging, you're dying. So, um, I think this is going to be a dodge or die character for the most part, but I think post super attack they'll be able to handle themselves against normals, which I think is good. Like my expectations for this unit really aren't that they tank super attacks, but that they have some sort of survivability against it, especially as a support type unit. So having the dodge chance fulfills that, and then for normals, they're pretty much going to be tanking those just straight up, just depending on how many super attacks you do. So I think that they're great. If you wanted to go additional to try to max out their defense, I think that would be fine as well. I would say just don't go crit. Unless you just plan on never using the 16 exchange, which maybe you wouldn't ever use it. It's hard to say. Let's talk about him. Because, I mean, I could definitely see scenarios where you just, like, don't use this guy. But you guys let me know. So his super attack effects, I don't think they really changed. I think those are the same. Greatly raise attack and defense, and then sacrifice 6% HP. Okay, I guess they gave him... Okay, so they did. So before it was just greatly raise attack, and then this was just greatly raise defense. Now they're both greatly raise attack and defense. That's what they changed that up to. So that's nice. We like to see that. Yep. So now this is attack and defense. This is attack and defense. They kept this the same. Really? I mean, come on. Could we have not made that just like 2%? Gotten rid of it. They love keeping that crap in there. Okay. So that's good. Those are both 50% raises. We like to see that. Key plus 8, attack and defense 240% at the start of turn, additional 160% when performing a super attack. Very simple to calc. And then high chance performing a critical hit. Performs a critical hit when HP is 66% or less, or if there is an enemy whose name includes Cell, but not Cell Max or Cell Junior. Launches an additional super attack when there's an Android/Cell Saga category ally, or all allies attacking in the same turn are Android category characters. So basically, he's just going to be doing a ton of damage and additionals, which is nice. His defense definitely isn't crazy. I mean, you can see pretty much they just gave him like a ton of stuff here. They did give him a multiplicative buff, though. I would say this character is not a slot 1 unit, though. By the way, back looking at these calcs, this is pretty much what you're going to see start a turn always, is like this 260k, 300k, just depending on how much support you have and if you're on a 200% or not. Obviously, that's not enough really to go like slot 1, but they do have the dodge chance. So if you dodge, then they can. But you guys get the point. So down here for 16, let me scoot this down. Okay, so we can see, again, I did the same thing. So, like, it's the same as before. So this is 170 no support, 170 support, 200 no support, 200 with support, right? And I just do 40%. It's just simple that way. So he actually loses shocking speed. He does gang tough as nails, which is a really good link. But, again, I don't know who you're getting this active with on his teams. Like, maybe this 16 occasionally you're going to get it active with him. Maybe you're going to get it active with Mira, but I just kind of looked at this and said, yeah, you're not getting tough as nails active. So we just lose shocking speed here. Again, I'm not including soul versus soul. You can adjust those links in the calc if you want to yourself, if you try to copy it. But yeah, I didn't include those. So our links actually go down to 25% because now I only have infinite energy and Android assault. But that, again, that's okay. Start a turn, he is at 200 and... Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I forgot to... I updated the number, but I forgot to update the... No, I didn't even update the number. I'm a fool. Okay, so this is 240%. Give me a second. All right, sorry about that. It was a pretty simple fix. I had done it down here, but I just hadn't updated it up here. So anyway, same thing going on. 240% at the start of turn. So this is multiplied by 3.4. 160% on super attack in their passive, or in his passive, right? So multiply by 2.6, and then 50% on super attack effect is 1.5, and then for each additional super attack you do, you'll be getting 305k defense. So if you get several super attacks off, right, this guy's going to be at a pretty good level defensively. I mean, even if you just get 2, he's going to be at a 1.2 million attack stat post super attack. But again, start of turn, he's only going to be at 234. So with no dodge, no guard, no damage reduction, I can't advise like ever putting this guy in slot 1. But post super attack, like this guy I think is going to be pretty good for Fusion Zamasu, because in their base form, they have the dodge, they have support, all that good stuff. And then if you have to exchange into 16 for like the physical Zamasu phase, he'll be able to tank normals pretty easily. He won't be able to tank super attacks, I don't think, unless you just go crazy with the additionals. But I still don't. It'll just depend on situation to situation. But I don't think he can tank the super attack. How much? Hang on. All right, so in order to tank Zamasu's super attack straight up, 16 is class neutral, type neutral, right? So that means like the damage is just straight up. So Zamasu does 1.75 million on his super attack. He gets a 30% attack raise. So you would take this 700,000, multiply it by 0.3. That would get you 210. You would take that 210, add it to the 1.75, and that's how much damage he's doing post super attack to 16. So we would need 1.96 million defense to tank it straight up. So there are situations, I think, where if you get really lucky, this guy will be able to tank a Fusion Zamasu super attack. It's just going to be reliant on you, like, triple supering, basically. Because, like, even with one super attack with a 200% leader skill, right, he's only going to be at, 1.3, so he wouldn't survive it here. But you give him one more, right, and then he's suddenly at, like, 1.7. And then he's able to tank it. You give him one more, and then he's at, like, 2 million, and then he's eating the super attack just in this scenario, so... pretty much, I think with a triple super, you will be able to tank Fusion Zamasu. So that's pretty good. And he can triple super, right? Oh, sorry, I moved off the calcs because I updated my post on Twitter. High chance performing a crit, performs a critical hit when HP is 66% or less, launches an additional super attack when there's an Android. Yeah, so you can triple super with this guy. If you're able to get that off. I mean, he can tank Fusion Zamasu. If you get a double, he can survive. But a triple, he can just straight up tank it, just depending on the situation, of course. But that's pretty good. I mean, if you ask me. So for sure, he's tanking normals, like very easily. He's tanking normals, we can see, right? Again, normal attacks, right? 700,000. Oops, that's 7 million. There we go. And then his normals... post super attack, you multiply by 1.3, so he needs 910k defense to tank normals post super attack, which he gets to very easily after one super. So I think this is a very well-designed unit. I think they'll be great for Fusion Zamasu. I don't know if they'll be good for Omega, because that STR phase is going to be very, very, very scary. But yeah, this is definitely a very, very good unit. Let me know what you guys think. Sorry, this is a bit of a longer video, but I wanted to kind of, explain these calcs a little bit more. I feel like every time I say that, but I don't know that I explain it well at all every time. But hopefully you guys understood a little bit about calcs after this, or just in general. My goal would be to where everybody in the community just knows how calcs work and can do it on their own. That's why I do it at 100%, 55%. I do it on like multiple situations. We walk through each step, and that's why I do it like in this format, is so that you guys can see each step, and you can see like it's basically showing my work, right? Like if you guys can see every step that goes into the calculation with labels, you guys can start to figure it out on your own. So that's my goal here. And so we try to show this all in phases and make it simple. And I thought that this was a good opportunity to show this like this. I don't think a lot of people understand like the multiplicative passive buffs. I think a lot of people would think that these are separately multiplicative, but they're not. They go together. So this is just like another situation where it's like I want to explain this to people. I want to show how the additionals work, because I think people think that this compounds as well, and it doesn't. Like this goes into itself. That's why we have this per additional increase of 30%. So yeah, anyway, you guys let me know what you think, though. Let me know what you think about 17 and 18. I really appreciate all of you guys watching. I think even at 55%, they'll be like decent. I don't know that they'll be good, but they'll be like serviceable. We got to remember that the Android team is just full of support. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities for you to have like 100% support on rotation. Now, 200% leads, I don't think you're going to be on there, but like let's say, like them with an extra 60% support here from like Android MVP 17, right? I mean, boom, their defense is suddenly just like way higher. And then like same thing down here, 170%. So this would be the extra 40%. So this would go to 4.4. So I mean, you can see, right? Like their defense really starts jumping up crazily with with like extra support, which is very prevalent on the Android team. So I think they're great. I think this is a fantastic EZA, all things considered. 16 being able to tank a Fusion Zamasu super attack after he, again, just having the ability to do it. It's a long shot. You got a triple super, or double to survive. Again, if you double, you survive. If you triple, you will just tank it. But after one, you'll probably die. Two, you will tank it, or two, you will survive it. Three, you will tank it. Right. So, but just having the ability to do that for an EZA LR is like actually insane. So that's really crazy. And then them with their dodge chance and their support, 50% attack and defense support obviously is going to be very good. So let me know what you guys think about 16, 17, and 18. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will catch you guys next time.